Let's go now to Kel Richards. He joins me every Wednesday. It's one of my favourite spots in a busy week. I know it's one of yours. Charlotte, Kel, welcome as always. One of our viewers, Charlotte, wants to know where the word autism comes from. We've discussed it quite a bit. We just discussed it then before, talking about transgender children. Of course, it comes up constantly in the NDIS. Where do we get the word autism from?
Well, I'm told it's a developmental disorder, and it was named. The word was coined by a German psychiatrist in 1908. Now, his name is Eugen Bleuler, and I apologise for my non-existent German pronunciation. So I do apologise if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But he coined it because he had a patient who simply could not connect with other people, who couldn't read other people, couldn't form relationships with other people, and so he decided that he'd retreated into himself, this patient. And autos is the ancient Greek word for self. So Bleuler coined the term autism to mean retreating into the self. Now, the thing about it is it happens on a broad spectrum. It's not one thing. So at one end, you've got people who just are insensitive and rude and can't connect with people like Doc Martin on the Foxtel television program. But at the other end, it's really very serious. And you've got children who are non-verbal, who can't even use language at all and struggle with the routine things of life. So it's now a very broad term, but it originally meant a retreat into the self.
Every week I learn something. This one takes me back to, I think, about year 6 grammar. I come from the age where I actually had a subject in grammar, affect and effect. Anthony wants to know the difference.
Right. It's something we all get confused about and we all forget. Let me tell you, the way to remember this is affect with an A is a verb. It's an action word. It does something. Effect with an E is a noun. It is something. So if that affected me, that's an action. That's spelt with an A. But if I felt the effect, that's a noun. That's a thing. It's spelt with an E. If you can remember, affect with an A is a verb. Affect with an E is a noun. You will get it right. There are some slight more complications about that, but that's enough. If we do it that way, we will get it right, Peter. Does that ring a bell with your old grammar book?
It does, yes, and the nuns used to sort of give you a whack if you got it wrong, so I'm pleased not to get the whack. Hey, wild and woolly. James wants to know, recently we've said the weather in Melbourne in particular, wild and woolly. Where do we get wild woolly from?
From the American West, from the Old West, from the Wild West. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary traced it back to 1884 and a history of the American West. And they said the cowboys and pioneers were described as wild and woolly. The wild part's pretty clear. The woolly part, they think, comes from the fact that they tended to have clothes which were made of sheepskin with the wool still attached to it. So sheepskin jackets, and the Old West could get very cold in the middle of winter. So that's apparently where it comes from. Another researcher, Gary Martin, who's very good at this, thinks he's tracked it back to 1855. But wherever it goes back to, it is certainly from the American Wild West. They were wild and woolly, and we've got the expression from them.